High on a sandstone bluff, overlooking a slow curve of the River Avon, rises a fortress that has guarded these lands for almost 1,000 years. Warwick Castle is not a ruin or a relic. It is a living, breathing stage where England's medieval past plays out in towers, halls, and gardens that still echo with stories of kings, knights, and rebels. It began in 1068, in the turbulent years after the Norman conquest. William the Conqueror, ever wary of rebellion in the Midlands, raised a wooden fort on this cliffside, using the river as a natural defense. From that first Motte and Bailey stronghold grew the mighty walls of stone we see today, rebuilt by the Beaumont family and expanded by the Beauchamps. By the 12th century, Warwick was no longer just a military outpost. It was a fortress of power, its curtain walls, gatehouse, and towers commanding both landscape and people. In the 14th century, the skyline was transformed again. Caesar's tower rose above the Avon, a brooding sentinel of stone. Soon after, Guy's tower, 12-sided and immense, took its place as one of the tallest of its kind in England. These walls were not only defensive but symbolic, towering reminders of the wealth and might of the Earls of Warwick. During the Wars of the Roses, these towers became the stronghold of Richard Neville, known as the Kingmaker. Here, he schemed, plotted, and gathered armies that would decide the fate of the English crown. Warwick was no longer merely a castle. It was the center of England's shifting power. But time changes even the hardest stone. When the age of cannon began to make medieval walls obsolete, Warwick transformed. In the 17th century, Sir Fulk Greville inherited the castle and reshaped it into a stately home. Inside, the austere halls softened into grand chambers. Staterooms were filled with art and finery. The medieval turned genteel, and Warwick began to tell a new story, not only of war, but of wealth, culture, and refinement. The 18th century brought further splendor. Francis Greville, later the first Earl of Warwick of the Greville line, commissioned the famed landscape architect Capability Brown to redesign the grounds. The wild medieval defenses gave way to sweeping lawns, ornamental gardens, and a parkland of rolling beauty. The castle now stood as both fortress and country seat, its martial past softened by the romance of landscape and leisure. Today, Warwick Castle balances both worlds. Step through the gatehouse and you find yourself in the Great Hall, its high timber roof and armor-lined walls still commanding awe. In the staterooms, waxwork figures recall the glamour of Georgian soirees and Victorian pageantry. Wander the towers and ramparts, and you trace the footsteps of centuries of guards and lords, peering out across the green fields of Warwickshire. Yet Warwick Castle is more than a museum. It is alive with spectacle. In summer, the clash of lances echoes once more in the Wars of the Roses live jousting tournaments, where armored riders thunder past cheering crowds. The falconer's quest sends 60 birds of prey soaring into the sky, eagles and hawks diving above the castle lawns with breathtaking power. And on the riverbank, Britain's largest working trebuchet creaks and groans before hurling projectiles high into the air, a fiery reminder of medieval warfare. For families, the castle is an adventure of its own. Children follow the Zog Trail through towers and playgrounds, or laugh their way through the horrible history's maze, stumbling upon Vikings, Tudors, and Normans in one playful sweep of time. Zog Playland brings dragon towers, rope bridges, and slides to life, while costumed characters greet young explorers at every turn. Hands-on activities bring history closer, archery with the resident bowman, or swordplay demonstrations that let little knights imagine themselves in shining armor. Yet Warwick has shadows, too. Beneath its towers lies the castle dungeon, a theatrical plunge into the darker side of the past. Here, plague doctors, torturers, and judges appear in flickering torchlight, their tales told by actors whose chilling performances make history visceral. It is not for the faint-hearted, and children under 10 are spared its darker corridors. But for those who dare, The dungeon is unforgettable. Step outside again, and the light returns. The Peacock Garden shimmers with fountains and feathered residents strutting across the lawns. The Victorian Rose Garden bursts into color through the summer months. From the ramparts, the landscape stretches away, the Avon looping silver through Warwickshire's green fields. It is here that the castle's dual identity is clearest. Hard stone walls set against Capability Brown's soft and rolling vision. For those who wish to linger longer, Warwick offers more than daydreams. Within the grounds, the Knight's Village welcomes families to medieval-themed lodges and glamping tents. Wooden beams, shields, and banquets conjure the life of a knight's camp, complete with storytelling by firelight. In the new Warwick Castle Hotel, turreted decor and themed dining create an immersive overnight stay that extends the adventure beyond the drawbridge. As the sun sets, golden light glints off battlements that have watched almost 1,000 years pass. From Norman conquest to medieval splendor, from Georgian grace to today's vibrant performances, Warwick Castle has never been frozen in time. Instead, it has adapted, evolved, and embraced each age. To walk its halls is to feel the weight of history, but also the thrill of imagination. Here, you can look out from a tower as a sentry once did, stand in a hall where kings were entertained, or cheer with a crowd as knights charge across the green. Warwick Castle is not a ruin to observe from a distance. It is a place to enter, to explore, and to live history for yourself. And when you leave, crossing the bridge back into the modern town, the echo of falcon wings, the crash of lances, and the whisper of stone towers remain. Warwick Castle does not simply tell England's story, it invites you to step inside it.